My Impact, Influence and Confidence programme is designed with talented women in mind to engage, inspire and build self-belief at work. For more information, go to bitfamous.co.uk. Hi, welcome back. This time on the Penny Haslam podcast. I'm running for mayor. I've got my campaign issues and my campaign trail. It's about being the figurehead for your business or your product or your service and running for mayor, being the brand ambassador, if you like.
First up, what are you motivationally speaking about, Penny?
Well, today we're smiling, we're shaking hands, we're kissing the babies. This story comes from an interview I did with an entrepreneur I'd just met called Jay Klein. Now, he's the inventor of a chewing gum called Pure Gum. So loads of entrepreneurs assembled at this big shindig. And my job is to interview all of them and find out about their successes and their failures and what they do. And it's really interesting. And one of my interviewees was the inventor of this chewing gum, Jay Klein. And I sit there and we're in tub chairs, because it's always tub chairs, isn't it? And I'm looking at him and I know that he's invented a chewing gum. And because I'm a former BBC business journalist, I'm slightly patronising towards him in my mind, right? And so I'm looking at him going, oh, you made a little chewing gum, did you? Invented it. Have you not heard of Wrigley? Kraft. The massive market dominators, $26 billion industry. How is little Jay Klein going to get any traction with his product? No idea. But I didn't ask it quite like that. I just went, so how are you getting exposure for the gum? And he told me. He said, Penny, I am running for mayor. Not literally, figuratively. I'm running for mayor. I've got my campaign issues and my campaign trail. And I'm going around the world and I'm shaking hands with people who might be interested in my gum and selling it. And I'm putting it into their hands so they can experience it in a packet, not straight out of his mouth.
So what did he mean, running for mayor?
Well, it was about being useful, not salesy. So he could bang the drum about Pure Gum all day long. Come to me, buy some Pure Gum. Pure Gum's brilliant, amazing, amazing, amazing. And it is a good gum, you know. But that can get tiresome. It's just another form of advertising, marketing, selling. But actually, what Jay wanted to do was be authentic and engage people in a different way. And because he was an entrepreneur, he had no other choice. He didn't have the firepower of R&D and advertising and marketing that the big brands do. So he called it Running for Mayor, where he basically goes around with some campaign issues. Now, his campaign issues were connected to the gum, yes. So one of his campaign issues was about a low sugar diet because the chewing gum doesn't have any sugar in it, and an artificial sweetener called aspartame, which is reported to have negative health impacts. So those were his two campaign issues or pet subjects that he constantly returned to. So he wasn't saying, buy my gum. He was going, look at aspartame. It's got nasty stuff going on for it and it's in most products that we eat. And talking about that. So he became a kind of expert in those areas. And the more he talked about them, the more expert he became. And he got known for talking on those subjects. And in silent brackets almost, Pure Gum's brilliant. So it's about being the figurehead for your business or your product or your service and running for mayor, being the brand ambassador, if you like.
So we all know what elections are, and if you're running for mayor, I guess kind of you're not going to go, just vote for me. Vote
you
vote
could,
for me.
but it would be a bit nothing.
You're going to say something like, we're going to get your trash taken out sooner, or your roads fixed. Or
exactly.
Whatever.
So you're landing on some issues that are of interest and important to other people. You're not just talking about your own agenda. Hey, I think I'd make a really good mayor. Isn't a great campaign issue, is it? Which is the same as saying, I've got a really good product and service. Because loads of people have really great products and services. So how are you going to stand out? So fashioning a couple of pet subjects for yourself, stuff you want to get known for, and then talking about those, going the whole 9 yards on writing articles, blogging, sharing stuff on those topics, help people understand what you do and what you stand for.
I tell you what I like about this is because, You know, when you first told me this story, I thought, you're right, crikey, how is he going to take on kind of Wrigley's gum? And then when you explained it to me, I thought, anyone could do this. This is a great thing about it. If you haven't got the money to promote your business, if you haven't got the budget for a PR agency or marketing,
or self-publicist, because obviously often this stuff can translate really well inside organisations as well. If you're working in a massive organisation, you kind of got to raise your own profile. No one else is going to do it for you. So if you can get known as the go-to person who loves that kind of work, who's able to do this thing or knows the most about that other thing, it really does stand you in good stead across the board. I wish I'd had it when I was working in an organisation.
So how much gum did he sell?
He sold absolutely tons of gum. It's sold around the world. His company a couple of years ago was valued at around $10 million. I mean, for a one-man band who just went around talking about aspartame and a low-sugar diet, he did pretty well as a back bedroom entrepreneur from Canada.
And how do you feel about patronising him now?
I feel ashamed, Steve. And we'll be tackling how to get on TV and radio as a go-to expert and how to do a really good job so you get asked back later on in the series. But if you'd like to run for mayor, keep listening because it's coming up next in my practical tips. Well, it's time to stop talking about it and start doing it. Today's tip, find your campaign issues.
Now, we've just been hearing about the pure gum inventor who had aspartame and a low-sugar diet as his pet subjects or campaign issues. But how can you nail down your own campaign issues, Penny?
Well, it depends what you like doing, really. Do you like a mind map, Steve?
I do like a mind map.
Yeah, or just a kind of brain dump. I like a piece of paper and a pen myself, that sort of thing. So I would suggest you go about this by sticking your large topic in the middle of a piece of paper. Your big heading. So say you are someone who works in IT.
Right.
Information technology, yeah?
Yeah.
You might put that as your pet subject. But it's
or accounting.
Yeah, anything, whatever you do, or a teacher,
or legal,
or run a business.
Yeah,
whatever the main headline is.
Right. So I've got my piece of paper. I'm going to write that in the middle with a circle round it.
What, teacher?
Well, just for the sake of practice. Go on then.
Okay, and off that, you're going to put down all of the other topics that are associated with that area.
Okay.
So, say for example, you are an IT person. You probably know about infrastructure and systems, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
You probably know about things like cyber attacks, safety, security. You might also, if you run a business, know about hiring apprentices or junior members of staff. You might also consider diversity and inclusion because IT, technology, STEM sector stuff is traditionally very male-dominated. So you might know about that. You'd also know about employment practices.
You'd know about running a business.
You'd know about running a business, yes. You'd also have customers who perhaps have growth plans or are scaling back on stuff, depending on the economic climate. So you might be a good barometer of the economic business climate, for example, and be able to comment on that. So out of all of those areas, what grabs you? What do you love talking about? What really stimulates you? And pick 2 or 3 and stick to them.
Now, one of the things that people often say to us is, I was watching the news the other day, or I was reading an article and someone was quoted and I thought, they don't know what they're talking about. I could have written that, or I could have said that on TV. That expert on telly doesn't know what they're talking about. Are we saying that could be you?
Well, it's a way, isn't it, of attaching yourself to topics. And then when you do that, you begin to raise your profile because you're talking about your topics a lot more than if you were just talking about, lots of different things loosely connected with what you do or what you stand for. And so it's about being really, really focused on those topic areas so you become known as a go-to expert in those areas. So yeah, if you see someone on TV or hear them on the radio and they're talking about diversity and inclusion, for example, example, yet you run a business where that's the heart and soul of what you do, you probably make a really good case study or interviewee as a practical example of how it works. You might have more to say about it. You might be better at it. So there's always room for more voices and more expertise to be shown across the board.
So Jay Klein of Pure Gum, he had two. He had low sugar diet and aspartame.
Well, low sugar also has other things attached to it, like diabetes, obesity, health issues, better living, more energy with less sugar in your diet, that sort of thing. In fact, you should have less sugar in your diet, shouldn't you, Steve?
Yes. But how many of these sort of pet subject stroke campaign issues should you have? Should you just stick with the ones that you really like, or should you go for the ones that you think are going to get the most traction?
Do you know what? If you're going to go mass appeal, you probably want to go for the things that are really interesting to a broad spectrum of people. There's nothing to say that you shouldn't focus on one niche area and become really expert in that. And in fact, you call it inch wide, mile deep expertise. It's fantastic. And you will find people there, but you might not find yourself on TV and radio talking about it. But you'll find other ways of connecting and attracting attention for what you do.
So Jay frequently appeared on TV and radio. You don't need to do that with your campaign issues, do you? You can kind of start smaller.
Yeah, well, it's about finding your own campaign trail, isn't it? So take your campaign issues and take them to the people who matter to you. So if you do run a business, then take it to your customers. Where do they hang out? Which social media platforms? What do they listen to? Go and turn up there. Would you like to receive my best advice to help you communicate with confidence? Why not sign up for my awesome email tips? Go to pennyhaslam.co.uk/email. And why not connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn? Just search Penny Haslam. Thanks for listening. My third book is coming out in 2024. It's all about confidence at work and in life. And as you'd expect from me, there are lots of stories and ideas to help you build confidence, whether it's for yourself or for others. It might be colleagues, teammates, friends and family. Head to pennyhaslam.co.uk/confidence-book.